Happy Friday. And in this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, me and my brother James Barlowe, we are going to talk about the basketball action from Thursday night because it was not just NBA. We had college basketball. Now, I know it wasn't an official game, but it felt like it. Stay tuned to hear our thoughts on Rutgers freshman duo Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. And you know we got to talk about Dalton Knecht exploding for 35 points. I think he pretty much answered the question that was brought up in an episode earlier this week. I think Knecht solidified himself early in the Lakers rotation. So stay tuned to hear about Bailey, Harper, Knecht. We're also going to talk about Stephon Castle, Rob Dillingham's bounce back game, and Jazian Gortman getting a two-way with the Mavs. Stay tuned. Big, huge shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. Again, I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my co-host, none other than my brother, James Barlowe. But before we get into this episode, I want to let you know that it is brought to you by FanDuel, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, comment, click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode because we are coming at you 5 days a week at the minimum. We have a couple episodes that we're going to drop this weekend. I want to say we're on like 16 episodes already this month. We're definitely putting in the work. All right. Thursday night, I was at the Mavs game, so I didn't get a chance to see the game live. I was contemplating, I don't even know why I went to the Mavs game. A Dallas Mavericks versus Milwaukee Bucks preseason game.
That was the legends versus the herd out there, man.
It was a G League game. And I wanted to, I really should have stayed home and watched the Rutgers St. John's game, but I ended up catching up on it. But let's talk about that. Ace Bailey. Now, I don't want to say that you are an Ace Bailey hater because that is totally wrong, but you are a little bit of an Ace Bailey skeptic.
I don't know if I'm a skeptic. I just, I'm me, man. I see it. I feel like I speak on what I see right now. And I mean, he looked like what I thought he would look like, but we can get into it.
Yeah. So I think it's fair to say you are a little bit of an Ace Bailey skeptic. I don't think he's like your lock as number 2, which nobody should have anybody locked in right now as far as like draft position. But I know you've brought up your concerns about Ace Bailey. I know, I did a solo Ace Bailey episode of Scouting Report, and you wanted to get your own in, and so tell me your thoughts about Ace Bailey's performance. I thought he played extremely well. 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 steals. And like you said, it was Ace Bailey. You kind of got what I was expecting to see from him. But I thought it was an impressive display of his shot creation and shot making, which makes me so high on him. And I know the shot selection, there's some concerns about that. And yesterday he was making those shots. But I really like Ace Bailey, and I am one of the people that believes that he has a chance to be the number 1 pick.
So when I say shot creation, was he created looks for himself?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know if I want to call him, he's a shot maker, not a shot creator. That probably does not make any sense, but hear me out. You know what I'm saying?
It makes sense to me, but you can go ahead and explain.
So, first of all, when you call me a skeptic, here's the thing that I'm not denying. I'm not denying him at 6'10" with a burner, right? That is evident. Catching and shooting, he does that at an NBA level today as an 18-year-old. He's got deep range. Pull-up jumper is great. He made some plays on the left wing, I believe, in the second half. He had the jab left. I think it was a 1 or a 2 drill pull up at the elbow. Look, listen to me. That is beautiful basketball, right? catch and shoot three. Look, the transition three that he made after he caught fire, loved it. But there was a play in the first half. He went left. That dribble got real high on him. He got cut off because he really can't get low. Turned around, hit the free throw line jumper. Hey, he made it. If I look at my coach, I'm like, man, I can't do nothing about that, man. Nobody else is ever going to say that's a good shot, but he's 6'9", 6'10". He gets away with it. He had another play in the first half. He went right, got cut off, couldn't get to the paint, picked up his dribble. It looked like a crazy shot, but it's in the Ace Bailey bag. He's a shot maker, going to be a shot maker. I was telling you this offline. He's going to be a 20-point per game scorer at the next level for sure. 20 points, probably 6-7 rebounds, maybe should be 1 or 2 assists. I want to see him get to the paint, man. He did get fouled. He shot 7 free throws. I didn't get to see where those free throws came, but I want to see him get layups. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, my knock on him is that I think that he settles for too many jumpers when he has the physical tools.
But is it settling if you can't get there?
So that was my question. So I think at least on the high school level, he should have been able to get there.
Yes.
He should have been able to get there. What I want to see from him this year is, can he get there? Because I think that he has a serviceable handle, maybe more so of an east-west handle as far east-west, but not going north and south.
It's east-west, 2 dribbles max.
Right. I personally would like to see him get to the rim more. I think that his field goal percentage is going to be, I mean, this sounds like a basic, it sounds like it's cliche. I think his field goal percentage is going to be directly related to his shot selection. So I don't expect him to be really efficient from the floor, but I think he can be if he got into the paint more. And I also feel like if he got to the paint more, then it would offset those off shooting nights, because he's going to have some nights where the shot isn't falling. But I also feel like playing with a point guard like Dylan Harper is going to help him get a couple of those easy baskets in transition, find him cutting and so on. I'm an Ace Bailey believer, but I thought last night's game showed his upside and his promise as a big time scorer. I mean, 25 points again. It wasn't a regular season game, but we're talking about a kid who just turned 18, and you don't find many 18-year-olds that can put the ball in the hole like he does. Everything else, as far as the concerns, I think those are easy fixes.
You think him getting a tighter handle, a better handle with his inability at that size to consistently get low is an easy fix?
I do. I do think it's an easy fix. So we had a conversation offline, and we can kind of let it spill into this episode. You had mentioned to me how many guys significantly improved their ball handling from the time they got to the NBA as far as wings. And I mentioned Jaylen Brown was the first.
Oh yeah, he is what any GM would say. Hey, it worked for him. Let's see if it worked for somebody else.
I feel like Kuminga has improved his handle over time, but I think for him, it's a matter of getting low and then just being more aggressive as far as attacking the rim.
See, I kind of see all right, you know how Andrew Wiggins is super athletic, right? Kind of stiff, but if he gets to his launching pad, he will bang on you. But Andrew Wiggins, the year he was really, really good at Minnesota on paper, he averaged 24, 25, but it was a tough 25, right? I'm not saying Ace Bailey's Andrew Wiggins. I'm just saying physically, as far as just not being able to kind of being limited off the dribble, but still being a very good scorer. That's what I kind of see in Ace Bailey.
Do you think he has a chance to be the number 1 pick?
Yeah, I think he has a chance. If anybody has a chance, it's him. I think Dylan Harper has a chance. Again, I personally would still take Flagg, but I mean, we don't have anything to see from Flagg, but at the same time, he's going to put up he's going to do some ridiculous advanced numbers are going to be great. He's going to show everything. I think Flagg is number 1. I think we can entertain Ace Bailey, But let's not pretend like Ace doesn't have like some stuff like, man, I wish, again, not saying anybody's a perfect prospect, but he has some stuff like, man, I don't know. What's it look like when he has that off night? Because he plays like there's going to be a 4 for 17 night, right? What's that look like in the box score? What does that look like for him to contribute towards winning?
Yeah, like I mentioned, fortunately for him, he has Dylan Harper, who some people believe is the second best prospect in the country. There's some people believe he is the best prospect in the country. And there's some people believe he's the best point guard. So Bailey has someone that can be the table setter that should know how to get him into his spots when he's having an off night. All right, when we return, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Dylan Harper's game. Dylan Harper, while it wasn't as loud and as flashy as Ace Bailey, he ended up putting up a pretty good stat line against St. John's. But before we get into the second segment, let's talk about HIMSS. Why? Because HIMSS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. HIMSS provide access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, Viagra, and Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. You're saving a lot of money there. The process is 100% online, and there is no need for that uncomfortable doctor visit. Just answer a few questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option for you. If you are prescribed, your medication ships directly to you, and it's in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMSS can help you find the ED option that works for you. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's hims.com, hims.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment option. Again, hims.com/lockedon. Dylan Harper had an impressive performance, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. It definitely was overshadowed on social media by Ace Bailey's, when Ace caught fire. And like I said, I was at the Mavs game last night. I didn't see it live. And I saw you tweet because I have your tweets notified. And you tweeted like, of course, I wanted to see what you're talking about. But I saw you tweet Ace Bailey as a burner. And I'm like, Ace must be going off because, I kind of see you as an Ace Bailey skeptic.
I'm not denying the jump shot, man. He is I know you get on me when I say great. He might be a great shooter, but he doesn't have great shot selection. I have concerns. I'm not a hater, man. I just wish that there were some things he would do differently. Like, again, it's social media, whatever. I done seen he will throw out Kevin Durant. Like, nah, man, that's not Kevin Durant. I saw Kevin Durant, who was the same age, who he was like the perfect prospect. Besides, he couldn't, lift any weights. But I don't care about lifting weights. But Dylan Harper, as you said, though, like I said, I watched the game. He knows how to play basketball. He generates looks for people. He's got pace. He can create his own shot. He can beat switches. I think he's a good athlete. I really don't like the Jalen Brunson comparison because, like, we talking about 6'6" versus 6'2". I don't know how you do that as far as like a comparison, but I really, really like Dylan Harper. I think he is the better prospect of the two. I will say this at the end of the game, again, it was a scrimmage. Kids are freshmen, but like Rutgers, you play college NCAA football. The screen started shaking for those young boys during that game. Controllers were vibrating. I shouted him out on another pod, but Dirk threw the ball away. And then Dylan Harper, he threw the ball away. And it was like you could kind of tell that maybe because they are a young team and a new team, they brought in a lot of transfers. They're going to have to try to figure out who's going to be the ball handler at the end of the game. And that's what I would have liked to have seen from Dylan Harper. Like, you go get the ball. I mean, yeah, you're going to turn it over because, like, we kids and we learning. But he should have had the ball late game. It should have been, yo, Ace, come set a little screen for me. Let's cook. But, I mean, maybe I'm asking too much from an 18-year-old. But at the same time, you're the son of a pro. You got all this poise. I wish I would have saw him close the game better.
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of their freshman growing pains. And I know we did an episode earlier. I don't know if it was with you or maybe it was with Leaf, but I was wondering, can these two freshmen lead Rutgers to the NCAA tournament? I think they were predicted to finish like ninth in the Big Ten.
I think they was
Which
ranked 25th preseason.
I've seen that, but I've also seen like they were ranked ninth in the Big Ten.
I
And
still get you in Big 20.
yeah, because it's not 10 teams anymore. It used to, like for someone who's like really not into like, following all the conference realignments, being projected to finish ninth out of the Big Ten sounds like you're at the bottom, but I don't know how many teams there are in the Big Ten.
I have no clue.
I just know they go coast to coast now.
Yeah.
That is the coast
Big
to coast.
country. That's what they are.
Yeah, same with the ACC.
You're right.
I do think that there is a possibility that they miss the NCAA tournament because they're a young team. They have some veterans on the team, but they're going to be heavily reliant on two freshmen. Now, I just said I think there's a chance that they miss the NCAA tournament, but I also think like if they were close or within range, they're going to make sure that they get in. So I'm really curious to see how well they play as a team and how many wins they can get because their schedule is tough. Just within conference, and everybody's going to be up for Rutgers because they know the spotlight is going to be on them, and they know that there's going to be a lot of NBA scouts in the building.
And there's a lot of opportunity. And listen, it would be not like me to not shout out Zuby Ejiofor from Garland, Texas. I drive by the high school every day, taking my kid to school. He had 27 and 13. He was a top 100 player, started off at Kansas, did transfer to St. John's last year. So this is his second year as a junior. 6'9". His motor is unreal. And he blocks shots. He rebounds at a high level. And I know he's been working on his jump shot. They let him shoot a few in high school. He's another person, Ralph, that him staying at his high school taught him how to play basketball. Because as a big, like in high school, it's hard to get, you're obviously the biggest dude there, but it's hard to get loose because, Florida place is crowded. They had a whole football team built around him. They made a deep run. But like Zuby was hitting threes. So if it works out for him, if what we saw in that scrimmage is real, you're looking at a 6'9", long arm rim runner, shot blocker that makes threes. Those guys get paid to play basketball at the next level. So I'm shouting him out. Hopefully he can keep it up. But he played extremely well. He looked like the best player on the floor last night, to be honest. But he is a junior, so.
But he made the most of his opportunity with the spotlight. You take Harper and Bailey off the floor, then I don't think the whole draft community is tuning in.
No, you're right.
To watch them. So that's why I think it is going to be a challenge for them because everybody's going to be looking to play their best game against them. Because those two prospects are highlighted on everybody's calendar. Because they know if I get off in this game against Rutgers, there's going to be a lot of eyes on me. All right, real quick. I've seen Jalen Brunson comparisons. I've also seen Cade Cunningham. Do you think he's somewhere in the middle?
I think he's somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I think he's not as, it's early to tell. I think Cade is a better playmaker, was a better playmaker. I know Cade averaged like an assist in each turnover in college at Oklahoma State. But I think Cade is a better playmaker, probably a little bit more poised just as far as different kind of scoring because Cade was posting up. He had face-up game, whereas Dylan is more so, pick and roll in isolation, get to the basket. But, a top 3 pick to me for sure.
Yeah, I was watching the Pistons. I don't know why I was watching the Pistons, but Cade is a really good passer in the corner.
Listen to me, Rob.
And they haven't, the last couple of years, they haven't given him a corner boy.
He averaged 8 assists a game last year and basically played in a box the majority of the season. So he's legit.
Do you think Dylan Harper's a 1 or a 2? And I guess in today's NBA where you want multiple ball handlers on the floor, it doesn't necessarily matter. But which position do you think he's best at? And do you think he can play with anybody?
I think he can. I believe he is a buyer of just playing basketball like the right way. Like if there's a catch and shoot opportunity, he's going to shoot the ball. And he played. I mean, think about it. No, Ace isn't a shot creator, but Ace is going to create not a shot creator for anyone else but himself. But he's going to draw attention. So there are going to be opportunities for him to play with another star. So I feel like he could play either position. I think he can guard twos and threes. Guarding ones, we'll have to see because again, it's harder for 6'6" guys, especially 6'6" ball handlers to guard point guards. But I definitely think he can play either as your co-star or your lead guard at the next level.
And speaking of the next level, let's talk about Dalton Knecht, Stephon Castle, Rob Dillingham, and Jazian Gortman getting a two-way. But before we get into the final segment, let's talk about FanDuel, because if you are an NFL fan, you can get a big start with the season with a big return on FanDuel, which is America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play and so much more. You can find it all on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you have to do is place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. All right, Dalton Knecht. Was that the most impressive performance from the rookies in the preseason so far? He had 35 points. I mean, I guess you can say his the last quarter of the last game he played, and then the way that he played against the Suns, you can't help but be excited entering the season if you're a Lakers fan about what you've seen from Dalton Knecht.
Yeah, man, he is. I think it kind of confirms what I said in the last podcast when we talked about him. He is a volume scorer more than a shooter, but he can shoot. And again, they run some good stuff for him. Like I said, it looks like JJ was like, "Hey, man, look, this is what I ran when I played for the Clippers. This is what I ran when I played for the Sixers. Like, you do this, and you're a whole 3 inches taller than me. Like, these shots are gonna be there." But again, and I have no issue with him being a scorer, more of a scorer than a shooter. But yeah, it's going to be, if he can defend just at a decent level, those minutes are going to be his. As far as on the wing, it's the backup first wing off the bench, because scoring the ball, shooting the ball, you can run action for him. I don't like corner boys. He can be more than a corner boy. I think he's going to be good. I mentioned before you talk about him, though, I know drafting old heads in the lottery is frowned upon, but I really think Detroit could have used him at 5. Yes, it would have been a major reach, but they keep drafting these projects, and you could have got somebody who could have helped you right away. Like you had mentioned, he was cheaper than you getting Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. I mean, but hey.
I mentioned that offline for those that don't want
to. Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of hard to forget what we talked about offline and what we talked about on the podcast. But no, if I were Detroit, maybe I would have traded back to get Knecht. I think people would have said 5 is a reach. I do think Knecht ended up in a better situation for him. I like to think of prospects from multiple lenses, right? And from the lens of an agent, I'm like, I'd be excited to have Dalton Knecht.
Oh, he already got a nickname.
He's got a nickname. Shout out to Snoop, Westside Knecht. He's exciting because he can catch fire. Now, I think he's, like you said, I think he's more of a scorer than a shooter, but he's a guy that can get hot and score points in bunches, a microwave scorer. I mean, we saw that in college. I know he had this crazy stretch where he had 100 and something points over 3 games. And for him to go to LA, be able to play with LeBron, play with AD, play under, the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, if he plays well, he's going to be a star. I mean, I've seen Austin Reeves. I've been around Austin and seen how popular he is. And that was right after his rookie year. So I can't even imagine how crazy it is for him to go out. But
wasn't he icy on draft night too?
Who?
Dalton Knecht.
Yeah,
I think he was. Oh yeah, he gonna lean into that for sure.
But so is Donovan Clingan, and he finishes like he had no soul to his game.
Catching his chain like T.I. did ATL.
So, but no, I think Knecht landed in the perfect situation. I'm sure he was probably disappointed he fell outside of the lottery.
But you can make that money.
He'll make that money back
in LA
off the court, especially if he play. I mean, I don't expect him to score 35 all the time like he played, but I think that he's going to be one of the more. I mean, we knew that he was probably one of the more ready rookies. Again, it's like it's too early to say still of the draft, but I'd have to say
wait.
between the Lakers and the Suns, I'd say between Knecht and Ryan Dunn, those look like the two steals of the draft. It's hard to call Zach Edey a steal because he was a lottery pick, but I think Dalton Knecht solidified himself to play over Cam Reddish, to play over Max Christie.
Yeah, Max Christie. Yeah.
I was a big Maxwell Lewis fan, and I thought Maxwell Lewis was going to be able to help, but it's a uphill battle for him to get those minutes. So yeah, Knecht, man. What do you see him averaging this season?
Bron gonna be at about 26 as usual. That's crazy. AD should be about 24. See, they got a lot of guys, man. But Reed is gonna get you about 17. D'Lo should be about 14, 15. I want to say 11.
If he can average 12 and shoot like 36% from three, I think he can help them win some games because they got some guys that can score, but Knecht has this ability to like catch fire and it lasts for a whole quarter or a whole half.
And you think there are times where, LeBron couldn't sit down because, the offense didn't, there was hard to find offense sometimes when LeBron sits. And, you can run all that action for Knecht. And then if he ever, learns how to, pass, man, because, he's going to start drawing, too, eventually. And then he can make those easy reads to whichever big screens for him. That'd be helpful.
And JJ is going to give him that anointing.
He already did.
He already did. All right, let's talk about Stephon Castle. You're the driver of the Stephon Castle bandwagon. What did you think about his performance against the Rockets?
He, getting to the rack. We know he does that. He hit a catch and shoot three, which is good. The two most impressive plays that I saw from him, I wouldn't necessarily say impressive, but two things that were encouraging. He hit two mid-range jumpers off the dribble, right? That's a good sign. He took two mid-range jumpers again. When you are a pick-and-roll playmaker like he is, stat sheet stuffer, you need to shoot those. They're going to go underneath your screen. When you do get them to go over the top of your screen, you get to that elbow. That's free money because we know you at the rim, he's going to get fouled. So they're going to have to give him something. They're going to give him that in-between jumper, and he's making it. Man, listen, Rafa, you can't get on the Castle. You can't get on the Castle train, man. I'm sorry. I gave you plenty of opportunities. You don't see the vision. It's all right, but dude.
No, I don't see Brandon Roy.
Do you see the handles? I said handles like Brandon Roy with a mixture in of Jimmy Butler. We just need that jump shot to get there to fulfill the prophecy. But I'm telling you, he caught Steven Adams. I mean, it is Steven Adams, but he caught Steven Adams on a switch, Ralph, and it was blow by. Hesitation, get to the basket, finish. No, he's legit, man. They need to clear out them decks. Let him rock.
I think they're going to. Brandon Roy was his best year, man. You just look at Brandon Roy's career, you're like, dang. When you go on Wikipedia, you're like, it's only 6 lines on here.
Yeah,
he was like in his prime at his best. He was like 22, 5 and 5.
You don't think Stephon Castle can't be a 22? Again, it's a different game.
Yeah, because I think Brandon Roy
5 and 5 guy, and you got to think Brandon Roy was older.
No, well,
Brandon Roy. He said out of here. He was a family man 1 year in college.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm a Blazers fan. I used to watch every Blazers game. Nate McMillan played at that slow pace because it was almost like he wanted the team to have a really good defensive rating. So he played at a slow pace to limit possessions. And their offense was very, very basic. I think Roy in today's style NBA could be 26, 6-6 or 26, 7-7. I don't know if Castle is going to be like a 22-point scorer, even with today's pace. I see him more so as, maybe he's like 17, 6, and 5.
I think, okay, so let's say Jimmy Butler is, what is he, a 22, 23 point per game guy as a Heat tool, whatever you want to call the Heat. 22, 5, and 5. I think that is very doable for Stephon Castle. Off the strength that when he gets downhill, he's getting fouled, right? I need to pull it up, but I'm sure his free throw rate, and it is the preseason. I'm not, trying to gas him too much, but his free throw rate in the preseason has to be ridiculously high. Yeah. And that's as a 19-year-old kid.
I mean, I see why you're making the comparison. I just don't see Brandon Roy as far as end of the game, clear out, go get me something.
All right, man. Bookmark this podcast.
We got quite a few of them where you can bookmark. All right, let's talk about Rob Dillingham. Rob had a bounce back game. He was kind of struggling for a minute. Had 15 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds against the Nuggets. What did you like out of Rob's performance?
He started to make some shots, even though I think he was like 6 of 14. He's got to make shots, man. There was a mid-range jumper he had missed going left. Like, again, he's young. Those you got to make shots, especially at the point guard position, especially when you are on the thin side. You got to make shots. But listen, shout out to Zeke Naji, man. He reached for the skies again. two games in a row, man. He was up there checking the lights, but like, yo, Rob is legit. He hit somebody else. Was it Westbrook? He blew by somebody. I mean, you give him some space, he can get to the rack. Coach did mention he does have to do a better job of picking and choosing when to, pass and when to shoot. He's a young guy, but like the most encouraging thing, again, I know the jump shot the shots have to fall, but like he's making plays and he's showing you court vision. He's showing that he can play point guard. Now it's still a work in progress because you already know he's been a get bucket guy his whole life, but he's making plays and that is trending up. I'm not necessarily worried about the jump shot. Probably needs to finish with his left hand more too, but dude is legit.
Yeah, through 5 preseason games, he only has 5 turnovers. You will take that from a rookie guard. But here is the concern. He's either been solid to good or bad. His first game, 21 points. Just period. Like the first game, he had 21 points. The last game, he had 15 points.
Yeah.
But games 2, 3, and 4, he combined for only 9 points. He had 7 points on 2 of 8 shooting. He had 2 points on 1 of 9 shooting. And then I guess against Chicago, he didn't play a lot of minutes. He only played 6 minutes, but he finished 0 for 3 from the floor. So which made me think like when you're watching these preseason games, you're starting to see a little bit of, all right, this may be the team's rotation, and then this rookie doesn't play. And then the next game or the last game of preseason, you'll see like all the top level starters not play, and then you'll see the rookies get the minutes. So in the Chicago game, for him to only play 6 minutes makes me feel like he may be outside of the rotation.
See, and you know what? He probably was in the rotation, but with that trade, you bring in DiVincenzo, who can operate as a secondary ball handler. We know Julius going to handle the ball too. It's almost like he lost. It seems like, especially on the team that went to the conference finals last year, I feel like he lost some minutes.
Yeah,
with that acquisition, because those are 2 guys that are going to that can handle the ball. So. It's gonna be interesting for Rob. Again, I'm still, I got 1 foot on the Stephon Castle train and another foot on the Dillingham train, but my guy's gonna be all right, man.
Yeah, Dillingham is so divisive on social media. Like when he had those 2 bad games in a row, and then the game where he didn't play a lot of minutes, I saw get ready for China. I mean, you have a bad game if you're divisive. You're gonna see on Twitter, get ready to no Chinese, buddy. And they always put the guy to Shanghai Sharks jersey. It never fails. He's in the Shanghai Sharks jersey. But no, I'm curious to see what happens with Rob. Is he going to be in the rotation or is he going to be down in Iowa? All right, let's talk about Jazian Gortman. We're running out of time here. Let's give a shout out to Jazian, a guy that has definitely made a name for himself this preseason. I think it was last week I saw that AJ Lawson got cut, and then I thought, okay, well, Jazian's going to get his two-way, and then for some reason the Mavs brought AJ back on the two-way, and then they just cut him, and then it was announced that Jazian got a two-way contract. I thought he definitely deserved it, and now it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with him and Brandon Williams. But I also read that other teams had interest, and so the Mavs didn't want to let him go. So I'm a big Gortman fan. I just think he's a guy that was caught up in that first season with OTE when scouts and even fans didn't know what to make of the league. And I think, from Gortman to Don Barlowe to my man John Montero, I just feel like they didn't get the recognition they deserve because OTE wasn't well known. And then the Thompson twins they definitely kind of like legitimized the league in a sense as far as respect. And then Dillingham came. But again, shout out to Jazian Gortman and shout out to the people at OTE. You're putting out a great product. Once again, it's Rafael with my brother James, and we are out. This was our Friday focused episode where we had to mix it up. We couldn't just talk about the NBA because we had some dynamite prospects playing. But before we go, I want to let you know that you got to check out the Locked On NBA season preview. It's on Locked On NBA, from the East to the West, to the contenders to the pretenders. It's a 6-episode series that covers everything you need to know about the NBA season. You can find it on Locked On NBA or wherever you listen to your podcast. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and we are out of here.